Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for telling my brother's children why I treat them different from my nibblings? I, 47 male, need some perspective from people outside of the family and was recommended this place. So here's the story. Over 20 years ago I found out that my brother Joe, 45 male, was sleeping with my then fiancé Kelly, 47 female. I literally caught them in my bed when I came home early and I did not respond well. My brother and ex apologized and begged for forgiveness, but I wanted nothing to do with them. A couple of months later, Kelly found out that she was pregnant and admitted that she didn't know who the father was, so we took a DNA test when her child Amy, 23 female, was born. Joe was the dad, and because of that, my parents decided to forgive Joe because they wanted to involved with their first grandchild. A part of me was hurt, but I didn't blame them and only asked that they respect that Joe was dead to me. Eventually, I married my wife Jane, 45, and we've created a great life for ourselves. Joe has tried to reconciliation and was denied every time. He wasn't invited to my wedding, he had to hear about the birth of my children from people, he was never welcome at my home, and the only time we were in a shared space was for funerals of mutual relatives, and I just avoided or tuned him out. A consequence of this was that, I wasn't involved in the lives of his children, Amy, Jr., 20 male, Val, 18 female, or Tim, 15 male. My parents have never asked me to be present in the children's lives, but that have talked about them numerous times, and I can tell that they want me to be involved with them because they see how good I am to my nibblings on my wife's side. I have a small but lucrative business and set up college funds for each of them, taken them on big family vacations, example, Disney World, Hawaii, Argentina, etc., attended almost every special event, birthday and graduation, and agreed to be their guardians if my sister-in-law, wife's sister, or brother-in-law, wife's brother, were unable to. I guess the lack of attention and financial support is starting to get to Joe's children because 3 out of 4 of them have asked why I'm not a part of their lives, or seem to care about them. I explained that while I don't hate them, I don't really feel a familial connection, but it's not their fault. I was surprised when they asked why, because I thought since all of them were either adults or almost an adult, that they would finally be told the truth. I told them what went down between their father and I all those years ago, and how there was no way I could be as attentive of an uncle to them without re-establishing some type of contact with Joe. That was not something that I was willing to do. I didn't hear from them, but about a week later, I got an angry call from my mom saying that Joe's children are all upset for getting cheated out of a better life. My mom said that I should have told her or my dad before telling them the truth, and how Amy's siblings are also blaming her too. It wasn't my intention to start a fight, I was just being honest without thinking about it. Am I the a-hole? Added to add, forgot to mention this earlier, but Amy is Joe and Kelly's only child together. Junior, Val, and Tim have a different mother. From my understanding, all that was told to the children was that Joe and I got into a huge fight years ago, and that I refused to accept his apology. They were fishing for more information and didn't understand what could have happened that was so bad that I refused to even speak to his children if it wasn't illegal. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and they do not miss their uncle, they miss the uncle's wallet. To be fair, they don't know about the college funds and they mostly inquired about me not attending birthdays or family events when they're not around. In that case, no a-holes here, except for their turning on their eldest sister to blame. She had nothing to do with it. They asked a legitimate question. You gave an honest answer. This is still on your brother for not owning up. My only question is how they asked you for details if you're not in their lives and don't interact with them. Not the a-hole. Joe and Kelly know exactly why their children are not treated as you treat your other nieces and nephews. Instead of being honest with their children, they obviously have pretended that they don't know why. You told them the truth, because their parents' actions are directly responsible for this situation. You cannot be held responsible for what Joe and Kelly did or did not want to share. They're now reaping the consequences of their actions. It sucks for Amy, because she is innocent in all of this. It's wrong to blame her, and her siblings are being selfish. You have no responsibility to Joe, Kelly, or any of their children. To be fair, Amy is Joe and Kelly's only child together. Oh, okay, so Amy is actually a half-sibling to the other 3. So they, the other siblings, are blaming her because she's Kelly's and Joe's daughter, and they think if she wasn't around, then they would be on the receiving end of your generosity. You know, that's just awful. I really do feel bad for her. It's so unfair of them to act entitled to your generosity, but blaming Amy for her parents' actions is unacceptable. Kelly and Joe made this mess. Now Amy is suffering because they couldn't be honest. Or, decent people to begin with. What a mess. Still, it's not your responsibility to clean up after them. It's just a crap show, but I don't see how telling the truth could have been avoided, on your part. There is a reason you cannot accept these kids as family. It's not their fault, but it's the reality they need to accept. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for sharing my aunts with one set of step-siblings and not the other? I, 16 female, am technically one of 6 kids, though 4 of them are step-siblings. My parents had myself and my younger brother, got divorced, and got remarried to people who each had 2 kids, giving me 4 step-siblings. My aunts, Susan and Nancy, are, to put it simply, rich. Like fly the entire family to a different country for a month every year and not blink at the bill rich. They pay for mine and all 3 of my brothers' tuition, bought my mom and stepdad, Susan is my mom's baby sister, a house, everything. Without my aunts, my family would really be struggling since mom works full-time and stepdad tries, but he's disabled from an injury a few years ago. I know my mom feels like she owes a lot to her younger sister, but all Susan said is that she wants us to be happy. Susan has a lot of health issues that I don't know a lot about, I just know she's sick a lot, and Nancy's an orphan, so we're their only family. I don't know why they don't have their own kids, they'd be great moms, but I haven't asked. And it's not just family they're nice to. They have a scholarship to the school they met at, and instead of making their friend deal with his dad's debt collectors when his dad died, they just paid off his estate after the lawyer gave them the go-ahead a while ago. They're really nice people in general, from everything I've seen and heard from my mom and stepdad. The only people they're not nice to are my dad, my stepmom, and their kids. I don't know what happened in general, a lot of the details have been kept from me, but I know my dad and my aunts went from being decent friends, to never talking. It got even worse when my dad married my stepmom 6 months after the divorce. My aunts do everything they can for my mom, stepdad, and the 4 of us kids. My dad's family? They don't acknowledge him if they see him in the store, unless it's something about me or my brother. Now the issue is, my stepmom and dad asked me to try and talk to them. They said that as the oldest/only bio niece and my Aunt Susan's favorite, that if I asked her to pay for my 2 other step-siblings' tuition to private high school when they start next year, she'd probably cave. If I asked her to take them all with us on the trips, she'd probably agree. Their lives would be much better if she agreed. But I said no. I don't know why my aunt doesn't like my dad, but she already does so much for my mom and I don't want to ask her to do more for someone she clearly doesn't like. This made my dad and stepmom really angry, and they ground me for the rest of the week I'm with them. They said I was greedy for not sharing and making their lives better when my aunt would do it for me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Not the a-hole. Did your dad cheat on your mom? Why do your dad and stepmom think your aunt has any obligation to help them? I honestly don't know. My mom refuses to talk bad about my dad for the sake of co-parenting, though she said she'll tell me everything when I'm 18. But she also doesn't say a lot of good things about him. Dad said his stepkids are as much my family as my mom's stepkids, which is why my aunt should consider them family as well. Not the a-hole. Feel free to talk to your mom about what your dad and stepmom are saying to you. They are trying to put you in the middle of their drama and use a child, compared to them, to emotionally manipulate Susan and Nancy. That's not cool. Whatever your dad did, it's on him. It's not your responsibility to facilitate anything for him. Not the a-hole. Yeah, I'll probably send my mom a message so she can talk to them. I still have my phone at least, even if my laptop was taken away except for school. Not the a-hole. Your father and stepmother have no business getting you involved in this. It's nice that your mother doesn't say bad things about your father for the sake of co-parenting, but it's pretty clear he did some stuff and your aunts know what. Plus, they are your step-siblings and not even related to your aunts. Your dad is being greedy, and this isn't your problem to solve. Edit. The other set of step-siblings are also their nieces/nephews, so it's very nice of your aunts to help all of you. Your dad's other kids, no relation to them, why should they be involved if they aren't friends with the parents? The way my stepmom put it is, my step-siblings on both sides are equally related to me, and thus equally related to my aunts, and so should be treated the same. It didn't seem right when she said it, since my mom wants to adopt my step-brothers and stuff. And now for the update. Hey everyone. I'm sorry I didn't update this last night, it was big and I ended up getting caught up in everything. I texted my mom after she got off work, and told me to get my brother and myself packed up. I got us as packed up as I could, but my dad and my stepmom wouldn't give me my laptop back, which I need for school. Well, my mom and both aunts came a bit later to get us. My Aunt Nancy took my brother and I to dinner, since I wasn't fed because I was grounded, and then home to my stepdad and stepbrothers, while my mom and Aunt Susan argued with my dad and stepmom, and by the time they came home they had my laptop back. It was pretty messed up though, and mom told me my stepmom had thrown it, but my Aunt Susan promised to fix it and get me a new one if it couldn't be fixed. Luckily I do have my homework backed up, so I won't get into trouble, but still. My stepdad went out and got us all ice cream sundaes, and we ended up having a giant family discussion. It turns out a lot of you were right, my dad was cheating on my mom with my stepmom, and I guess the jealousy that my stepsiblings feel towards my brothers and me about going on vacations and having rich aunts, is a lot worse than I thought. Like, it's all they talk about apparently, though they never brought it up to me. I thought we were at least friends, but my stepmom told my mom her kids hate me, which hurt. And I guess my dad feels like my aunts owe him for some reason, because part of their wealth came from his advice, but that doesn't make any sense. If he was so wise, wouldn't he be rich too like they are? I know my aunts are able to work 3 jobs between them, their individual 9 to 5 and their company, and because they don't have kids they can save more, but they still pay for a lot for 4 kids, me, my brother, and my stepbrothers, and give away a lot of money to other people, so I didn't really understand that. To wrap it up, I don't think I'm going to go see my dad anytime soon. I'm really bothered by how things went down and by this new info, and I know it really hurt my mom to tell me. She kept apologizing, saying she was going to wait until we were both 18 to tell us about everything, but that my stepmom kept saying really horrible things during their argument and my mom was worried we would find out from her, and she would rather we find out in a safer environment. My stepdad was mainly there to refill water cups and give hugs when needed, though he did help to fill in some details when mom couldn't. My aunts told me I did the right thing, and that they were proud of me, and that it was going to be okay. I'm upset and tired and hurt, and I don't know what will happen after today, but we don't have to go to school at least, and I can ask more questions after lunch. So yeah, that's my update. Not very fun, but I guess it's what it is. Next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for choosing my grandfather's money over my stepsister?" I'm the oldest out of my 3 siblings, I just turned 18, I have a younger brother who is 16, and my stepsister who is 14. When I was 13 my family went on low contact with my grandpa and grandma and I didn't know the reason until recently. When I was 13 my grandpa wanted to make a college fund for me and my brother, but wouldn't make one for my stepsister since he didn't see her as a granddaughter. This caused my parents to go low contact with him, and by extension, I barely saw him. So, I turned 18 about a month ago and my grandpa wanted to talk to me. I decided to meet him without my parents knowing, and he told me that he saved up a college fund for me. It has about $100,000 in it. His only condition is that I am the only one that uses it and not to share it with the family. Grandpa told me that he has another one for my brother when he turns 18. I took the money. Today we had a conversation about what loans I will need for college since they can't pay for it. I told them that I won't need any loans since I came into some money recently and I could pay for college out of pocket and maybe even have a little left over. They were shocked and asked where I got all this money. I told them about Grandpa. Well, my parents flipped and started to yell at me for taking that money, telling me I have to give half to my stepsister or return it. I told them no, and they told me if I didn't listen, they would kick me out. I'm now on a friend's couch and wondering if I made the wrong choice. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It'd be stupid to give up a free college education. Also, he's not the one who married and took the stepkids. He's not obligated to fund their college educations. Hey, OP, I know it seems overwhelming right now, but your parents made a huge financial decision for you and your brother without your consent. In a perfect world, they would be happy that Grandpa can fund you too so they can save up for your stepsister. But they're so focused on fairness that they can't see past their own entitlement. Not the a-hole, and get yourself a great education. Not the a-hole. Grandpa left you that money for you. Not for anyone else. With that money get yourself an apartment. Not the a-hole. Go to college, watch your money closely, and don't overspend on non-essentials. You'll be surprised how fast it goes if you don't. Not the a-hole. Your grandfather doesn't see your stepsister as his grandkid, that's his call. He decided to create a college fund for you and your brother, That's his call too. He told you he didn't want you to share the money, so if you split it with your stepsister, you'd be going against his wishes. Your parents can decide to go low contact with your grandparents for the sake of your stepsister, but they don't get to tell you to split the money with her. They can be upset with grandpa, but not with you. If anything, now that you and your brother are covered, your parents can put more money into your stepsister's college fund. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not reaching out to my mother after she disowned me? Here's some context. I've had issues with my Asian, she's pretty traditional too, mother my whole life. I'm 22, female. She raised me and my sister since my father passed when I was a child. She is a heavy alcohol drinker and was quite emotionally abusive. Things got better when I went to college since we saw one another much less. 2018, I started dating my current partner. Things got bumpy one winter, 2019-2020, with both of our depressions. When I was studying for my MCAT in the winter while I was home, he suggested a break. My mother had never seen me so sad. A few weeks later after my MCAT, we got back together and now we're super happy. He's apologized to me. Here's the incident. 1.5 months ago, I received a full ride to medical school. I shared this with my mom and she was ecstatic. The next day, she asked what my partner was going to do, and I suggested he'd move with me, and now my mom and I haven't spoken since. She's upset for many reasons. 1. He never apologized to my mother or my sister for what he broke up with me during the winter. She thinks him and his mother should apologize to her and my sister, and since they never apologized, they suck. 2. She thinks I will be missing opportunities for better men if I go to school with a partner, aka missing a chance to date doctors. 3. She thinks I won't try as hard if I live with him. She begged me for the first year in school, to not live with him. Essentially, she doesn't like him and his family from the break incident. She gave me an ultimatum, him or her. I told her it's not her life, and that I've worked so hard to get here, he's just a supporter. Him being in my life hasn't bothered me for 3 years, and it likely won't in med school. I admit, I said some harsh words. At one point, I got so mad, I said F you, but it's when she called my partner's family trash, or that I won't be successful if I'm with them, but cannot believe she disowned me for this. We haven't spoken since and tells my sister she won't. My mother has said she's spoken with all her friends, and they agree I'm in the wrong. But am I? I got a full ride to med school and am deciding to move with my partner. We are both happy. I understand her fears as a mother, but to this extreme? Am I the a-hole? She gave me an ultimatum, him or her. You are a grown woman in medical school, congrats by the way, who has found a partner who supports you and makes you happy. Your mother emotionally abused you in the past and it seems to me that she's doing it again. It sounds like she is only getting involved in your life due to your accomplishments. Do not let her reap the benefits of your hard-earned efforts if she didn't help you achieve them along the way. That is not genuine love from her. That is her seeking an opportunity to make herself look good. Do not let her take your happiness from you. Absolutely not the a-hole. The one rule in life I always live by: shut the toxic people out. Why should your partner have to apologize to your family for breaking up with you? You're the one he hurt, you're the one he apologizes to. And why should his mom apologize for his actions? Doctors are not better than everyone else. If you love your partner, and he's supporting you, that's what matters. What does she mean you won't try as hard? Congrats on getting into med school. Good luck with everything. Not the a-hole. Thank you. Exactly. She thinks because she was caused so much pain by what he did, I cried a lot, which I guess caused my mom a lot of distress. He needs to apologize to her. And his mom needs to apologize for that? I know. My mom will never get that mindset out. That I need to marry a doctor. She tried to brush it off when she said you won't try as hard, but essentially that he will be a bother to my studying. But I told her, I've studied for 3 years with him in my life, and even with the break during my MCAT, I still did fine. It's more of a hit to who I am. She doesn't trust I'll work hard with a man in my life? And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.